Greetings Pilgrims, I am Doug. This is Camino 2020, a section of my channel dedicated to preparation for walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain next year. And today I want to do something a little different. I wanted to see if someone could walk the Camino with a 22-liter pack. The thing that prompted me to do this test was a conversation that I was having with my Camino cuz, and she mentioned her concern about pack weight. So I asked her, well, what was your pack? Now, she bought hers in preparation for the Camino a few years ago. I think it's been in storage since then, so she wasn't sure. She knew it was Osprey. You know, I've got the Talon 22. And she said, oh yeah, I think that's it. And I said, no way, that's not possible. You know, the Talon 22 is a day pack. I mean, you put a sandwich in this thing and the pack's half full. There's no way that that's the pack you bought for your Camino. Well, we later discovered that she had bought the 33-liter version of the Talon, but it got me thinking, could somebody pack everything that was necessary for the Camino in a little day pack? Well, I think you can probably guess where that line of thinking ended up going.
Challenge accepted.
And so I hopped on Geargrams and I started tossing every single thing that wasn't, in my mind, pretty much an absolute essential to try to see how low I could get the pack weight. And believe it or not, 10 pounds of weight was tossed in my effort to create a Camino loadout that would fit in my Talon 22 day pack. So let's see what's in here. First of all, I've got my backup shoes. And I'm not going to go into a whole gear review for everything in the pack. I've got that elsewhere. I'll put the full loadout in the description below so that you can see exactly what I've got going on here. But these are the Zero Shoes sandals, lightweight backup shoes. On the front of the pack, I've got water bottle with my Z-Packs water bottle clip. In the pouch on the hip belt, I just threw in a couple of snacks. On the back, I've got my waist pack, which is waterproof, and this is where I will be keeping my passport, wallet, stuff like that. Okay, that's it for the outside, although I would probably be using these outside compartments for a lot more if I was on the Camino. This is all I needed as far as getting this packed. All right, in the top pocket, I've got my headlamp, my clothesline, I've got my bug net, and I've got my towel. And that's it for that compartment. In the main compartment, I have my poncho. I would probably normally just pack it in loose to kind of fill in some of the gaps, but I'm going to bring this in case I need a pillow. Next are my rain pants. These are the Frog Togs. Now, I could have brought the Marmot, but I really wanted to see just how low I could get this base weight down to. Okay, next I've got my sleep sack. So this is basically a sleeping bag liner that can be placed underneath sheets and blankets that albergues give you, or in warmer climates, it can be used by itself to sleep in on a bed. What's next? It's like Christmas. Okay, so this is my hygiene kit, and I'll show an exploded view of this in a picture, but basically this is deodorant, a little bit of Body Glide, some vitamin I, Ibuprofin. I've got a bit of sunscreen, I've got my Dr. Bronners soap, pair of nail clippers, not a whole lot in this little ditty bag here. Next is my clothes bag. So in this bag I have an extra pair of pants, extra shirt, socks including sock liners and underwear, and that is everything that's in this bag. The things that I did not put in the pack for this base weight calculation would include anything that I'd normally be wearing. So my shoes, dual socks, the pants, underwear, shirt, hat, and even the glasses. None of those count toward this particular base weight. These are the things I have to carry in my actual backpack. All right, then in the mesh pocket on top of the pack, I've got my power supply. Now, all I brought in this case, because I was going ultralight, was the plug adapter that you need in order to plug things in Spain. And because this has dual USB ports, all I'm bringing in addition is the connecting wire. So this will be sufficient if all I'm doing is powering up a phone and maybe one other device like a headlamp or something at night. So there's the phone. This is going to be communications and photography. And that, my friends, is it. Here is a 7.35 pound loadout for the Camino. 22-liter pack, not even completely full, with an adequate Camino loadout. And I will tell you right now, this feels amazing. It's like not even having a backpack on. This entire kit actually weighs less than the messenger bag that I bring with me to work. I could spend the whole day in this backpack and still get my work done and be completely comfortable. Now, I admit, this seems like a pretty solid collection of gear. How in the world, you might ask, did I think I needed 10 more pounds of stuff than this? Well, probably the biggest sacrifice with this particular loadout is warmth. All I've got beyond pretty much a single layer of clothing is the poncho. And I think that if I was actually going to try to do an ultralight Camino, that is definitely the first change I would make. Another thing to consider is that the Zero shoes. I am not a barefoot hiker, and these are not super comfortable for me. These are fine as shower shoes, walking around the albergue, maybe even hanging out in town a little bit. But if I make any plans to actually hike in sandals as a backup or an alternate to my shoes, I think I'd probably have to go with the Teva hiking sandals rather than these, and that's going to throw another pound onto this kit as well. Other things I did not bring: my guidebook in an extra buff. I'm not bringing a good camera. I'm going to be completely reliant on my phone for recording the entire Camino experience. No tripod for photography, even with the phone. I'm not bringing gaiters. I'm not going to have a warm hat. I also did not include my rock in the base weight, but that's something I'm going to be losing about halfway through the trip anyway. I'm not going to be bringing a button-up shirt for around town. Not going to be bringing a spork. I'm not bringing a trowel or any other trail toiletries, if you know what I mean, so gonna have to make it from town to town before doing that business. And finally, I'm not bringing the hiking umbrella. So I definitely would not say that I'm leaving behind anything absolutely essential. Depending on the time of year that I went on the Camino, I would have to make some very serious decisions regarding warmth. And I think that considering the space that I would lose and the weight that I would gain, it would be worth bringing a puffy jacket and exchanging the sleeping bag liner for a proper sleeping bag, because getting cold is no fun at all. For me personally, losing the ability to take some really good pictures is also a pretty serious consideration. There is definitely a big quality consideration when it comes to only using a phone for pictures and video. Oh, and of course, can't forget the shell. Now I'm ready. This loadout is well within the ultralight hiking standards. I am down into the single digits, even with food and water. Now, I did have to give up a lot of comfort items, but in the end, you're either going to give up the comfort of carrying weight or the comfort of the items you're bringing with you. That choice is up to you. So now the big question. Is this my Camino pack? Is this my Camino loadout? Probably not. My comfort level is such that I would rather add a few more pounds to the backpack than leave behind some of the items that I really want to bring with me. When it comes to warmth and even photography, those are just two areas that I personally am not really willing to risk a lot of sacrifice. And at the end of the day, I gotta hike my own hike. I gotta walk my own walk. So if I need to suffer a bit more on the trail and maybe pop a few extra ibuprofin so that I can come back with amazing pictures and not be shivering awake all night and exhausting myself by lack of sleep, then that's what I'm going to do. But it is good to know that if I just had to run out onto the Camino with nothing but my day pack, it can actually be done. I hope this video has been informative. If it has, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell notification so I can let you know when new videos come out. And until next time, buen camino.